The sun peeked through the curtains, painting my room in soft shades of gold. I loved mornings like this, quiet and full of promise. I reached for my phone, ready to check the time and maybe scroll through social media. But when I looked at the screen, my heart dropped. There it was, a notification from Jackson's messaging app. I opened it, expecting something sweet, maybe a good morning message. Instead, I found Jackson's words to another woman, Miranda. My breath hitched in my throat. "What is this?" I whispered, unable to believe my eyes. The messages were full of affection, intimate words exchanged between them. I felt the world around me start to crumble, pieces of my life falling away like shattered glass. "No, no, no," I said, shaking my head as if that would change the reality staring back at me. How could this be happening? Just last week, Jackson and I were laughing over dinner, sharing dreams for the future. It felt like a movie, a scene where everything is perfect. But now, everything was different. My heart ached, and the disbelief twisted into a painful knot in my stomach. I remembered our moments together, the way he held me close during the winter nights, the sound of his laughter echoing in my ears. Each memory felt like a knife, cutting deeper into my heart as I tried to make sense of this betrayal. Was it all a lie? I thought, feeling tears prick at the corners of my eyes. I wanted to scream, to confront him right then, but I needed to think. I took a deep breath, trying to collect myself. I won't be a victim, I told myself firmly. I wouldn't let this define me. The thought of Jackson casually continuing our life while I was left shattered made me furious. I needed answers, and I needed them now. "Jackson!" I called out, my voice echoing through the house. He appeared in the doorway, his expression shifting from confusion to surprise. "Do you want to explain this?" I held up my phone, the screen glowing with his betrayal. His eyes widened. "What? That's not what it looks like," he stammered, stepping closer. "I can explain." "Explain what?" I interrupted, my heart racing. "That you've been lying to me? That you've been texting another woman while I thought we were happy?" I felt anger bubbling up inside me, mixing with the heartbreak. "I didn't mean for you to find out this way," he said, his voice shaky. "It's not what you think. I was going to tell you, I swear." "Tell me what? That you've been unfaithful?" I shot back, my words laced with disbelief. "What could possibly justify this? You had me convinced we were building a future together, and now—" My voice faltered, and I took a moment to steady myself. "Now, I feel like I don't even know you." He reached out, trying to touch my arm, but I stepped back. "Don't," I warned. "You don't get to comfort me now. You've shattered everything." As I stood there, I felt a surge of determination. I refused to let him see me cry. I wouldn't give him that power. "I need space," I said firmly. "I need to think about what I want." Jackson's face fell, and I noticed the uncertainty in his eyes. "Please don't do this. I'm scared of losing you," he pleaded. But his fear only fueled my resolve. "I'm not afraid of losing someone who doesn't respect me," I replied, my voice steady. "You've made your choice." With that, I turned away from him, my heart pounding. I knew I had to confront this head on. I wouldn't let Jackson's betrayal define me. I needed to face him, to reclaim my power, and maybe even confront Miranda. The path ahead would be difficult, but I wouldn't back down. I was ready to fight for myself. As I stood in front of Jackson, the air around us felt thick with tension. My heart raced, pounding like a drum in my chest. I could see the surprise in his eyes, but it was mixed with something else. Guilt, perhaps? I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "Why, Jackson? Why would you do this to me?" He shifted uncomfortably, his gaze dropping to the floor. "I didn't mean for you to find out this way," he said, his voice shaky. I thought I could fix it before you knew." "Fix what?" I shot back, anger bubbling up inside me. You think you can fix betrayal? You think I just overlook your messages to Miranda? I was confused, he stammered, looking back up at me. I never wanted to hurt you. I was scared of losing you. His words cut deeper than any knife. Scared of losing me? I echoed, my voice trembling. You should have thought about that before you started talking to another woman. You think I don't deserve honesty? As I spoke, I felt a mix of sorrow and anger wash over me. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to make him feel the pain he caused me. But instead, I stood there, holding my ground. You don't get to play the victim here, Jackson. You made your choice. He stepped closer, reaching for my hands. Please, just listen. It wasn't what you think. I was lost, and Miranda, she was just there. I thought I could keep you both happy. I pulled away, my emotions swirling like a storm. You think I would be happy sharing you? That's not love, Jackson. That's selfishness. His expression turned desperate. I love you. I still love you. Can't we work through this together? The pain in my chest felt like a heavy stone. Love doesn't betray, Jackson. Love doesn't sneak around behind someone's back. I paused, feeling the tears prick at my eyes. I don't want to be part of your mess anymore. I deserve better. He opened his mouth to respond, but the words stuck in his throat. I could see his facade of guilt slipping away, revealing a sense of self-preservation. It was then that I realized his remorse was only skin deep. He was more afraid of losing me than truly sorry for what he had done. I need to think, I said, my voice firmer than I felt. But I am done being the woman who stands by while you play games. As I turned to leave, I felt a surge of determination. My focus shifted from Jackson to Miranda, the woman who had disrupted my life. I needed to confront her, to understand why she got involved with someone who was mine. Where are you going? Jackson called after me, panic lacing his tone. I'm not finished. I'm going to find Miranda, I replied, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and resolve. Don't do this, he pleaded, stepping forward again. You don't know her like I do. Maybe not, I said, turning to face him one last time. But I need to know why. I need to take control of this situation, and I won't let you stop me. With that, I walked out the door, leaving Jackson behind. Each step felt like a declaration of independence. I was no longer just a victim of his betrayal. I was taking charge of my life, and I would not allow myself to be defined by his mistakes. As I stepped into the cool air outside, I could feel my heart racing, but it was different now. It was no longer just fear. It was the thrill of reclaiming my power. I would confront Miranda, not with anger, but with a desire to understand. I would not let Jackson's betrayal break me. Instead, I would rise from it, stronger than he ever imagined. My heart raced as I approached the small cafe where I was supposed to meet Miranda. The air felt heavy with tension, and a whirlwind of emotions swirled inside me. I took a deep breath, reminding myself of my purpose. I was not here to cry or plead. I was here to reclaim my power. As I entered the cafe, I spotted Miranda sitting at a corner table, her posture relaxed, a stark contrast to my nervous energy. She looked up as I approached, her expression unreadable. "You came," she said, a hint of surprise in her voice. "Of course," I replied, trying to keep my tone steady. "I wanted to talk." Miranda gestured for me to sit. "I didn't expect you to actually want to meet me." "Well, here I am," I said, forcing a smile. Inside, I felt like I was stepping onto a battlefield, ready to face my enemy. The conversation began with cautious pleasantries, but it quickly morphed into something more intense. "You know, I didn't intend for things to happen this way," Miranda said, her voice softening. "Jackson and it just happened." I felt a surge of anger rise within me. "Just happened? You knew he was with me. You knew he was my partner." She looked down, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. I didn't know the details. I didn't know how much he meant to you. That's not the point, I shot back, leaning forward. You still made a choice. We all have choices. Miranda met my gaze, her eyes reflecting a mixture of regret and defiance. You're right. I made a choice, and I regret it. But Jackson is not the only one to blame here. Her words struck me like a slap. I had come here thinking I would confront her, but now I realized I was also confronting myself. What do you mean? I asked, my voice trembling slightly. I mean, she continued, that you were so focused on Jackson, you didn't see what was happening around you. You didn't see the signs. I paused, her words piercing through the fog of my anger. What signs? The way he treated you sometimes, the way he pulled away. I saw it. I thought maybe he wasn't as happy as he should be, but I was wrong to get involved. I should have stayed away. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her honesty. I thought I had a perfect life. I thought our love was strong enough to withstand anything. Miranda leaned back, her expression softening. Love is complicated. It's not always enough. Sometimes, it can blind us to the truth. I nodded slowly, feeling the tears welling in my eyes. I feel so lost. I thought I was strong enough to handle anything, but this has shattered me. You're stronger than you think, she said, her voice sincere. This is your chance to rebuild. Don't let this define you. Her words ignited something within me. I realized the battle wasn't just about confronting Miranda or Jackson. It was about confronting my own insecurities, my need for validation from others. I had felt so small, so powerless, but now I could see a glimmer of strength rising within me. Thank you for being honest, I said, my voice steadying. I came here ready to fight, but instead, I think I needed to hear this. Miranda smiled softly. I didn't want to hurt you. I never intended for any of this to happen. I hope you find happiness again. I stood up, feeling a newfound sense of empowerment. I will. I need to focus on myself now. I can't let Jackson or you take that away from me. As I walked out of the cafe, I felt lighter. Meeting Miranda had not been the confrontation I had expected. Instead, it had been a moment of clarity. I was not just a victim of betrayal. I was a woman ready to reclaim her life and her strength. The journey ahead would be mine to navigate, and I was determined to make it count. As I sat on my couch, I felt a heavy weight in my chest. It had been a few days since my meeting with Miranda, and while I had walked away feeling empowered, the pain of betrayal still lingered. I needed to talk to someone, to share my feelings and let it all out. That's when I decided to call Sarah. Hey, it's me. Can we talk? I asked when she answered, trying to keep my voice steady. Of course. Do you want to come over? She replied, her voice warm and inviting. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Yeah, I'll be there in a bit. When I arrived at Sarah's place, the familiar scent of vanilla candles greeted me. She opened the door with a comforting smile and pulled me into a hug. You look like you need this, she said softly. Thanks, I murmured, feeling the warmth of her embrace. It felt good to be held, to know I wasn't alone in this. We settled on her couch with mugs of hot chocolate, the steam swirling in the air between us. So, what's going on? Sarah asked gently. I took a deep breath, the words tumbling out. I can't believe Jackson did this to me. I thought we had something real. How could he betray me like this? Sarah nodded, her expression serious. It's okay to feel upset. Betrayal hurts deeply. But you are stronger than you know. I don't feel strong, I admitted, my voice cracking. I feel lost. I don't even know who I am without him. Maybe this is a chance to find out who you really are, she suggested. You can rediscover your joy, your passions. Revenge isn't the answer. Finding happiness is. Her words struck a chord within me. I remembered the things I once loved: painting, reading, even hiking. I used to enjoy so many things. I just pushed them aside. I thought I should focus on Jackson and our life together. "Now it's time to focus on you," she said, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. "Let's start small. What's one thing you've always wanted to do?" I thought for a moment, a small smile creeping onto my face. "I've always wanted to try yoga. I heard it's great for stress relief." "Perfect. Let's sign you up for a class," Sarah said, pulling out her phone. "And we can go together. It'll be fun." As we planned my first yoga class, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe I could find my way back to happiness. Each laugh and shared story with Sarah became a healing balm for my wounded heart. Later that week, I met with my friends again for brunch. The restaurant was filled with chatter and the smell of fresh coffee. I sat with a group of familiar faces, each one a pillar of support. "Hey, how are you holding up?" Lisa asked, her brow furrowed with concern. "I'm okay," I replied, trying to sound confident. "I'm starting yoga and focusing on my own happiness." "Good for you. You deserve to put yourself first," Mark chimed in, raising his glass in a toast. "To new beginnings." "To new beginnings," we echoed, laughter spilling into the air, mixing with the clinking of glasses. As I looked around at my friends, I realized how lucky I was to have them. They reminded me of my worth, of the love that still surrounded me despite the heartbreak. Each moment shared, every tear shed, was helping to heal my wounds. "Can you believe Jackson thought I would just stay and take it?" I joked, trying to lighten the mood. "I mean, I can't believe how blind I was to his actions." "Betrayal can blindside anyone," Sarah replied, her tone serious again. "But you're learning to see clearly now." With each passing day, I felt myself growing stronger, more determined. I was not just surviving, I was beginning to thrive. I focused on rediscovering joy, not by seeking revenge, but by embracing who I was. Finally, after much reflection and support from my friends, I made the decision. I would leave Jackson for good. No more holding on to what was broken. I was committed to reclaiming my life, my happiness, and most importantly, my self-worth. As I looked in the mirror that evening, I saw someone who had been through hell and back, but had come out stronger on the other side. I smiled at my reflection, feeling a sense of power I hadn't known in a long time. I was ready to step into my new life, leaving the shadows of betrayal behind. As I sat in my small, sunlit apartment, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Leaving Jackson was supposed to feel liberating, but it also felt lonely. I took a deep breath and looked around the space that was now mine. It was quiet, and for the first time in months, I had only my thoughts for company. "Okay, let's do this," I whispered to myself, pulling out a dusty sketchbook from under the bed. I used to love drawing but had pushed it aside while I was with Jackson. I flipped open the pages, revealing half-finished sketches and forgotten dreams. "Time to bring you back to life," I said, smiling at the memories of the carefree moments when art was my escape. As I began to sketch, I felt the tension slowly release from my shoulders. I found myself lost in the lines and shapes, the pencil gliding across the paper. It was as if I was rediscovering a part of me that had been hidden for too long. Hours passed, and I barely noticed the time. Later that evening, I decided to call Sarah, my best friend. I needed to share my progress and hear her voice. "Hey, it's me," I exclaimed when she answered. "Hey, I've missed you. How are you holding up?" Her voice was warm and inviting, making me feel safe. "I'm okay, actually. I started drawing again today. It felt good," I admitted, feeling a sense of pride swell within me. "Wow, that's amazing. I always knew you had talent. Are you going to show me your work?" she asked, her enthusiasm infectious. "Maybe. I guess I'm just trying to find out who I am without Jackson," I said, the words spilling out before I could think. "That's the spirit. You're going to find yourself again. Remember, it's not just about getting over him, but about rediscovering what makes you happy," Sarah encouraged. Her words resonated with me. I realized that I had spent so much time trying to please Jackson that I had forgotten to please myself. I decided then and there to embrace my solitude and explore the things I loved. The next day, I signed up for a local pottery class. I had always been curious about working with clay, but never found the time to try it. As I shaped the cool, damp clay between my hands, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. The instructor, a kind woman named Maria, noticed my concentration. "You have a natural touch," Maria commented, smiling at me. "Thank you. I'm just trying to find a new way to express myself," I replied, feeling a spark of joy. "I get it. Sometimes we need to break things down to build something new," she said, her words striking a chord in my heart. As the weeks passed, I began to feel lighter. I filled my days with pottery, drawing, and long walks in the park. I started to appreciate the quiet moments, the way the sunlight filtered through the trees, and the sound of laughter from children playing. Each day felt like a small victory. One evening, I met Sarah for coffee at our favorite cafe. "You look different," she said, her eyes sparkling. "There's a glow about you." "I think I've finally started to like being alone," I confessed, stirring my drink thoughtfully. "It's strange, but I feel like I'm learning to love myself again." "That's incredible. You deserve every bit of happiness," she said, raising her cup in a toast. "To new beginnings." "To new beginnings," I echoed, clinking my cup against hers. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the cafe, I felt a sense of hope. I was on a journey to find myself, and even though it was challenging, it was also beautiful. The pain of the past was transforming into strength, and I was ready to embrace whatever came next. With each passing day, I learned that moving on did not mean forgetting. It meant carrying my experiences with me, using them to shape the person I was becoming. I was learning to accept myself, flaws and all, and that was the most empowering feeling of all. As I walked home that evening, I looked up at the sky, filled with stars. The future felt open and full of possibilities, and for the first time in a long while, I was excited about what lay ahead. As I sat in my favorite cafe, I sipped my coffee and stared out the window. The sun warmed my face, and a gentle breeze played with my hair. I felt a sense of peace that I hadn't experienced in a long time. Each day, I learned something new about myself, and today was no different. I reflected on my journey since that fateful morning when I discovered Jackson's betrayal. It felt like a lifetime ago. "Hey, you," my friend Sarah said as she slid into the seat across from me. "You look deep in thought." I smiled at her, grateful for her presence. "Just thinking about how far I've come. It's hard to believe I'm not that same person anymore." She nodded, her eyes shining with understanding. "You've been through so much, but you've grown. You're stronger than you know." I took a deep breath and shared my thoughts. I used to think that betrayal would break me, but now I see it as a turning point. It pushed me to find my true self. Sarah leaned in, her voice soft but firm. "That's true empowerment, my friend. It's not about revenge. It's about living your life for you." "Exactly," I exclaimed, feeling the excitement bubble within me. I realize now that my greatest act of revenge is just being happy. Jackson thought he could take everything from me, but he only pushed me to discover my own strength. We chatted about my new hobbies and the friendships I had formed. I mentioned how I had joined a painting class and how much I loved it. "Every brushstroke feels like a step toward healing," I said, my eyes lighting up. "I can express my feelings in a way I never could before." "You should show me some of your work sometime," Sarah encouraged, her smile wide. "You're an artist now." "Maybe," I laughed, "but I'm still a beginner. I just enjoy the process. It feels freeing." As our conversation flowed, I noticed how far I had come. I was no longer defined by Jackson or the pain he caused. Instead, I embraced my independence and the joy of being my own person. I had learned to celebrate the small victories in life, like my first completed painting or a new friendship blossoming. "Speaking of victories," Sarah said, "I heard you met someone new?" I felt a rush of warmth at her question. "Yeah, his name is Ben. We met at the art class. He's really kind and supportive. It feels nice to connect with someone without the baggage of my past." "Wow, that's great," Sarah beamed. "You deserve to be happy. Just remember to take things slow." "I will," I promised. "I'm focusing on me right now. That's the priority." As we continued to talk, I felt the weight of the past lifting off my shoulders. I realized that every moment of joy I experienced was a step away from the darkness that once surrounded me. I was no longer a victim. I was a survivor, and I was thriving. Later that day, I took a long walk through the park. The trees were in bloom, and the flowers danced in the breeze. I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey I had taken. Each step reminded me of my resilience and the love I had for myself. I stopped by a beautiful flower patch and picked a bright daisy. Holding it in my hand, I whispered, "This is for me." It was a symbol of my new life, one filled with hope and possibilities. I knew I was ready to embrace whatever came next. As I looked up at the sky, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. I had emerged from the shadows of betrayal into the light of self-empowerment. I was ready to face the future, strong and hopeful. My heart swelled with a newfound love for life, and I knew that whatever came next, I would be okay. After all, I had learned to be my own source of happiness, and that was the most powerful gift of all. Share this story if you believe that true empowerment can arise from even the toughest challenges. Leave a comment about a moment of self-discovery that changed your life, and subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one.